Welcome to Fish News. I'm your host Sid Rosie, reporting fish news on channel Fish News. Tonight I present to you 6 stories, the first of which being an extinct species that was rediscovered. Then we'll discuss the new manatees that were added to Disney World's aquarium. Next, we'll go over the anglerfish that was found near the ocean's surface, followed by another rare fish, the oarfish, which washed right up onto the beach. And finally, we'll finish the night off with 2 lighthearted stories. We have a goldfish tank which was spotted at the Puppy Bowl, and a marine life inspired ball on RuPaul's Drag Race. Stay tuned to find out how an extinct fish is no longer extinct. Welcome back to Fish News. The long-forgotten Chell snakehead was last recorded in the Himalayan region of India in 1933. Leading scientists to believe the species had gone extinct. But in 2024, 3 specimens as well as photos were collected which officially confirmed the species has existed in India the entire time. It managed to stay under the radar for 85 years. There were repeated searches for the Chell snakehead in the last several decades with no success. The researchers who finally rediscovered the fish were trying to locate it for months after they heard a local tribe in West Bengal was catching and eating them. The Chell snakehead specimens were found in no other than the Chell River system. The species is known for being the most elusive of the snakeheads and sports bright green scales with yellow stripes. Stay tuned to be introduced to the threatened species which was added to Disney World's aquarium in Epcot. Welcome back to Fish News! Epcot's Sea Base Aquarium has been going through some changes recently. It now closes earlier at 7 p.m. as opposed to closing alongside the park, which is usually 9 p.m. This hinders the Prince Charming experience, Prince Charming being a nocturnal slipper lobster who comes out of hiding for food towards the park's closing time. Hopefully, once the construction for the escalators and the big tanks are done, the aquarium will go back to its normal hours. On the bright side, 4 new manatees have been added to the aquarium. The manatee exhibit has a front viewing area where they eat lettuce throughout the day and a window for them to access what I assume is a larger swimming space backstage. The window is now blocked off to separate the 2 pairs of manatees for the time being. As I reported in the last Fish News, Disney is moving toward short-term stays for the manatees, so we will see how long they're housed here. The 2 visible manatees are named Cider and Mino or Mino. Cider is 3 to 4 years old, weighs 770 pounds, and was orphaned in 2023. She has an abscess that they're keeping an eye on, but she's at a good weight to be released back into the wild. Mino is about 2.5 years old, weighs 470 pounds, and was orphaned in 2022. He reportedly needs to gain weight before he can be released back into the wild. They both seem very happy. They were scooping up sand, doing barrel rolls and flips under the water, swimming fast, and generally being silly little guys. They even had this enrichment toy with lettuce sticking out of the log, which I'd never seen before in the aquarium. Speaking of which, on Valentine's Day, the Fish News team noticed a pipe in the middle of the rocks visible from the Coral Reef restaurant. A sea turtle was pecking at it, and our waiter said that's what they used to feed them. They put lettuce sticking out of holes along the pipe, but it's not usually visible and it must have come loose, so that was totally cool to see. I'm so sorry. Something even cooler to see is an anglerfish, and apparently it's easier to see one now than it's ever been. So stay tuned to find out how. Welcome back to Fish News! Do you remember this scene from Finding Nemo? Okay, now imagine you're a guy named David. You're out in the Canary Islands researching sharks, staying close to the surface of the water, and this face comes swimming out of the abyss below. A black sea devil anglerfish. Latin name translates to black sea monster. She's actually only about 6 inches long, so she's not as scary as you would think, but she usually lives about 6,500 feet below the ocean's surface where the sun don't shine. It's nicknamed the Midnight Zone, and the only light down there comes from bioluminescence. So what was she doing all the way up here? Researchers aren't exactly sure, but they said it could be due to illness, updraft, or fleeing from a predator. A marine wildlife expert told National Geographic that the anglerfish could have eaten a fish with a swim bladder or gas gland, which expanded and caused it to float. David and Condrick, the two who came across the fish, posted, quote, "It could be the first recorded sighting in the world of an adult black devil or abyssal anglerfish alive, in broad daylight, and on the surface." They also said that seemingly only larvae or dead adults have ever been recorded near the surface. David explained that, quote, "Their whole deal is not moving. They're ambush predators. They kind of sit there bobbing around, so seeing this one doing something active is kind of shocking." Unfortunately, only an hour after they began photographing the fish, she passed away, presumably due to the change of pressure, and it's also suggested that she was already injured before the sighting. That was definitely an unusual sight to see, and if you want to learn about another deep-sea fish that was spotted at the surface, stay tuned. Welcome back to Fish News. Oarfish are typically found 650 to 3,200 feet below sea level, or through the months of December to May in Animal Crossing. So imagine the shock when beachgoers at Playa El Camado in Mexico saw one wash right up onto the beach. Robert Hayes recorded the oarfish swimming in shallow water before laying on the beach outside of the water. Someone then picked up the fish to help it get back to deeper water. The fish tried to swim away but didn't get very far. Now, oarfish can grow up to 36 feet long, so this one was definitely on the smaller side. According to the Florida Museum, they're usually only seen at the water's surface when injured or dying. Hayes said the man who picked up the fish in the video would bring it to a marine biologist, assuming it was injured. He also said, quote, "The fish swam straight at us, lifting its head above the water about 2 inches. We redirected it 3 times out to the water, but it came back each time." What are these fish scared of down there? Aliens? Weird. Even weirder, in my opinion, is the annual tradition of the Puppy Bowl, which featured a fish tank this year. So stay tuned to see it. Welcome back to Fish News. I'm not a huge fan of sports or the Super Bowl, but I am a big fan of the Puppy Bowl. Adoptable puppies playing with toys and unknowingly making touchdowns, or whatever they're called. Kitten cheerleaders performing at the halftime show and hanging out in the skybox. 10-gallon tanks filled with goldfish. 10-gallon tanks filled with goldfish? I posted a video of it on TikTok, and here's what the fish lovers on there had to say. Plants and Goldfish says, "Happy to see a filter and aerator, but was it even slightly cycled? Tough to say." I will say I was surprised to see both the filter and aerator, so that was a positive. Gabby Dino reports, "Overcrowded for sure and a bit bare, but I think the point was for the cat to be enamored by it. Plants usually don't do that for cats." A very good point and something to note for sure. Cheryl says, "Fine for now, but quickly won't be. That's like a 20-gallon tank. These fish get big. Need like 150 for all those guys full grown. As a temporary setup, it's definitely fine." Great insight from all 3 commenters, and the Fish News team thanks you for your input. In my opinion, the tank is probably temporary, and it would be cool if these goldfish were adoptable just like the cats and dogs that are featured on this program. But I will say that the tank is ugly. I think that's fair. I'm not into sports, so I'm not into the sports aesthetic, especially for a fish tank. I'm so sorry. Is that controversial? Stay tuned for my favorite sport and another honorable television mention, the Let's Get Seasickening ball on RuPaul's Drag Race. Welcome back to Fish News. Season 17, Episode 6 of RuPaul's Drag Race featured the Let's Get Seasickening ball with 3 categories: Bathing Beauties, Sea Creature Couture, and Sea-Sickening Eleganza Mwama. I added the Mwama. I got a little excited. You know I have to go over all these fish-related looks, so let's get into it. First of all, for the Bathing Beauties category, the only fish-related runway was Corey King, who came out as Left Shark from Katy Perry's halftime show. She then revealed into the bathing suit Katy Perry wore for the performance. For Sea Creature Couture, first up is Crystal Envy, who was inspired by pufferfish. Her shoes look like pufferfish, and she said they are inspired by Alexander McQueen. Ka-chow! Her outfit even puffed up and inflated with fans, which I thought was super cool. Next up is Jules Sparkles, who chose a sea slug called the Spanish Dancer. She said she is flowing down the runway to emulate the grace that is the Spanish dancer. Lydia B. Collins chose the anglerfish, but instead of transforming into one, she said she is an anglerfish jockey and is riding the fish to victory. Next up is Sam Starr, who was originally going to do an anglerfish, but was told by production that someone else is doing it and she needed to pick something else. Trinity the Tuck, her drag mother, had already ordered parts of the costume, so she researched deep sea fish that are similar to anglerfish and also had the pointy teeth. And she found the viperfish, which Sam Starr ended up going with. Next is Anya Nerve, who chose an African sea star. She says they have a lot of extravagant colors and designs, and she feels opulent, skinny, and like the star of the ball. I love this so much. I love that she's just a literal sea star. Then we have Ariete, who chose a lionfish. This was my favorite because she looks exactly like a lionfish. It's so ethereal looking. She said she airbrushed the entire look herself and she feels like she's actually in the water swimming because of how it moves. Next up is Susie Toot, who chose a coconut shell octopus. I love the way she chose a beehive to emulate an octopus head shape, and she said she has tentacles for bangs, tentacles on her shoes, suction cups, and blue rhinestones. Corey King is next, and she chose a mandarin fish, which I think are so pretty. I love these fish. She said she chose the fish for its bright colors, and she kind of wanted to give evil supervillain. Then we have Acacia Forgot, who chose a feather star. She says she thinks it's one of the gayest creatures in the deep blue sea, and it's beautiful and mesmerizing. Next up is Lexi Love, who chose a purple stinger jellyfish. She said she wanted to give the essence of a jellyfish, and she has these orange dots all over her body. This was another one of my favorites because the colors work so well together, and she really did give the essence of a jellyfish, and it's stunning. Then we have Hormona Lisa, who chose a leafy sea dragon. She said she feels gorgeous and feels like the prettiest sea dragon in all of the sea. Lastly is Lana Jure, who chose a purple sea urchin. She said it's a very unique silhouette for her because she doesn't usually wear spikes. I love this look, and I think she captured the sea urchin vibe perfectly. The last category is Sea Sickening Eleganza, in which the queens showcase looks made from marine debris, which is super cool. There were only 2 looks from this category that included something fish related, the first being Ariete's. She said she made the coral from hot glue and wire, and I assume she spray painted it to match her outfit. This was by far my favorite look from this category, and Ariete definitely deserved the win for this challenge. Then we have Lana Jure, who said, "Fish don't know how to walk, but I am a bad bitch fish pumping down the runway." She used blue plastic to make fins coming from her ears, and it's giving siren. I think she looks gorgeous once again, and I don't think she deserved to lip sync because of this look. Let me know in the comments what your favorite look was. I'm curious to know. That's all I have for Fish News edition number 8. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace and love. I had Layla under here the whole time.